Well, this lesson is all about congruent triangles. We'll cover the basics and then we'll get into side, side angle, hypotenuse leg, and all that kind of good stuff. So first of all, the basics. If triangle WRD is congruent to triangle PLK, then WR is congruent to what segment? Well, just match them up. The order matters. So if we talk about WR, those are the first two letters, then PL are the first two letters of this triangle. So we will say segment PL. Okay. Given these two triangles are congruent, angle T is congruent to which angle? Well, T is the third angle in order, so it must be congruent to angle N. Number 3, segment PS. Well, segment PS, here's S and P, and that matches up with segment QM or MQ. So that's number 3. Number 4, how about segment CX? Well, segment CX is right here, the last two. That matches up with segment WP. Number 5. Okay. Well, it looks like we're just rearranging all of the letters. So triangle KRH is congruent to triangle, let's see, K matches up with O. So if K goes first, then O is going to go first. What about R? R matches up with W. So if R is going to go second, then W has to go second. And that leaves H. H matches up with V. So if H goes last, then V has to go last. So this would be the congruence statement. All right, and here's the last one of these. Angle M is congruent to what angle? Well, M is here in the middle. Okay, so that's going to match up with D, which is in the middle. Now in number 7, we're supposed to use the given information to find some indicated values. So these two triangles are congruent, and let's be specific. So see that W is congruent to M. Okay, so let me mark those to make it clear. The W and M go together. And let's mark some more. So like X and N are congruent. So X is congruent to N. All right, and that leaves the third. So which means Y is congruent to O. Okay, so let's see what we have here. So for example, if I want to find the values of A and B, so these two green angles are going to be congruent. So that means 7A minus 4, okay, this green angle should equal 38, the other green angle. So we'll just solve this. Okay, add 4 to both sides. So that leaves 7A is equal to 42. So A is equal to 6. All right, so that's one of the values we're supposed to find. Now we're supposed to also find the value of B. Okay, so here's B at the pink angle. Now that doesn't immediately help me because there's nothing at this pink angle. But let's do this. look at the blue angles. This is just plain 74 degrees. So that means we know that this is going to be 74 degrees. So we can just subtract from 180. All three angles have to add up to 180 degrees. So let's subtract these two from 180 and see what's left for the pink angle. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm doing 180 minus 74 minus 38. Okay, and that is 68. Okay, so that means this angle is 68 degrees. Now, I can't stop there because I'm supposed to find the value of B, not this whole angle. Well, now that I know that this angle is 68 degrees, then that means that 4B plus 8, all right, should equal 68 degrees. So, of course, we'll subtract 8 from both sides, and that'll give you 4B is equal to 60. And then divide both sides by 4. All right, so B is equal to 15. So that's it for number 7. Number 8. Given that these triangles are congruent, find the values of x and y. Once again, let us be very specific. We have C and H are congruent. Well, that's clear because they have the 90-degree angle. What else you got? B is congruent to K. Okay, so B and K are congruent. All right, what else? A and I are congruent. Okay, so this is how they are congruent. So what do I want to do? Well, if I want to find x, these two green angles are congruent. So that means 2x plus 18 should equal 52. So let's set that up. 2x plus 18 should equal 52. $34, and then you divide both sides by 2, and you get x equals 17. Okay, so that is x. Now, to find y, again, we know, let me erase some of this, we know both of the other angles in this triangle. So I could subtract these from 360, but it would be even more clever to recognize that since this is 90 degrees, these two angles are complementary. Okay, so if I want to find this angle, all I have to do is do 90 minus 52. All right, I don't need to do the whole 180 thing, but if you would get the same answer. Now, 90 minus 52 is 38. So this angle is 38 degrees, okay? Now, 38 degrees is the angle K, but it's also 3y plus 11. In other words, 3y plus 11 should equal the 38 degrees. Okay, 3y equals 27. Dividing by 3 gives me y is equal to 9. Okay, that is it for number 8. All right, for the next couple problems, we're supposed to say if it's possible to prove that the triangles are congruent. And if so, we're supposed to state the postulate. Now, let's make a little list or like a word bank. There are 5 postulates that will prove that triangles are congruent. Okay, I'll put them over here under these work. Now these don't work. Okay, so here are the 5 that work. Side, 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 angle, side, angle, side, angle, 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 side, and hypotenuse leg. Okay? Basically, all of the arrangements of S's and A's work, except for the 2 that I'm going to put over here. Angle, angle, angle does not work. Okay? That doesn't prove triangles are congruent. Neither does this word, SSA. Now, if I wrote this the other way, starting with A and then the 2 S's, you can see that would make a bad word. And that would mean the same thing as this. So luckily, the bad word version doesn't work. So the bad word doesn't work, and AAA doesn't work. Everything else, including hypotenuse leg, works. Okay, so what do we have here? Now these triangles share a side, so even though they're not marked, you should go ahead and mark them congruent. Alright, so of course WL is the same length no matter what triangle it is in. So now I see I have 2 sides and an angle. Now, ask yourself which one of these 7 things that is. Well, 2 sides and an angle, that sounds like it could, hold on. 2 sides and an angle could be side angle side or side side angle, right? This one works, this one doesn't work. How do I know the difference? They both involve 2 sides and an angle. Well, if it's going to be side angle side, it has to be 2 sides and the angle in the middle. In other words, 2 sides, like take this for example, but then it has to be the angle in the middle that you're working with. So here I have 2 sides, but look guys, the angle in the middle is right here. It's not that. So when you have 2 sides and an angle that's not in the middle, that's when it's side-side angle. That's not a postulate at all. Okay, so we're going to put none. Number 10 is another example of something we can mark even though it's not given. Vertical angles are always equal. Okay, so these 2 angles are a pair of vertical angles. So they are automatically congruent. So now I have 2 angles and a side. All right, is it going to be angle, angle side or angle, side angle? Both of these have 2 angles and a side. Well, if it's going to be angle, side angle, it has to be 2 angles and the side that's between them. So you see the 2 angles. The side that is between them is this right here, but that's not the one that's marked. So I have 2 angles and the non-included side. Now that's all about angle, angle, side. Okay, I was trying to see if there's a special place for the answers, but no, there's not. All right, let's check out number 11. Number 11. Well, we've got two right triangles, so I'm wondering if it's going to be hypotenuse leg. I see that we have a hypotenuse, okay, so we have a hypotenuse, check. Do we have a leg? There seems to be something in common here, but it's not the entire side. No other leg is marked congruent or anything. So we have hypotenuse, but we don't have leg. So we can't do hypotenuse leg. So we'll have to treat this like a regular triangle. So I have two angles and a side. Two angles and a side. So is that going to be angle, angle, side, or angle, side, angle? Well, if it's going to be angle, side, angle, the side has to be between the angles. Okay, so you see that here are the two angles right here. Is this side between them? No, it is not. So that means it is not angle, side, angle. So it must be angle, angle, side. Two angles and the side that is not included between them. Okay, look at this one. Again, we have vertical angles, which are always equal. Vertical angles are equal. But I have no sides. So this would be angle, angle, angle if there were such a postulate as that. But angle, angle, angle is one of the things that doesn't work. Okay, so instead of putting angle, 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 which does not exist, we're going to put none. Number 13 looks a little bit tricky because of the way they overlap. But I can see a lot of things. So let's see, I just want to be able to color this very clearly. This side of the triangle, see how it's made up as of the triple and the little single piece here. Hopefully you can see that that's going to be congruent to this side of the triangle, which again is made up of the triple and the single. So far we have an S. Okay, and then what about this part down here? Maybe I need to start over. Alright, so we had that side. Now, guess what? This side of this triangle is made up of the double piece and the bottom of this little isosceles triangle. So it's a double plus bottom. But guess what? This piece over here of the other triangle is made up of a double and this bottom. So the blue and the purple are actually the same length. So that's another side. So I have a side and a side. Okay, what else do we have? We have an angle. Okay, we have this angle right here for that triangle. And we have this angle over here. Okay, we have this angle. All right, and as you look at it, see how it's marked right here? All right, we're given that these two angles are congruent. So we have an angle. So we have two sides and an angle. So, but side-side angle is one of the ones that doesn't work. But how do I know whether it's side-side angle or side angle side? Well, again, if it's going to be side angle side, it has to be two sides and the angle that they form, the angle in the middle. Do I have that? Okay, well, let's check it out. Here's one side and here's another side. And then this angle is in fact the angle that they form. Okay, so we do have two sides and the included angle. So that is going to be side angle side. Alright, please be careful. These symbols right here do not mean congruent. They mean parallel. Okay? They're saying that KN and LM are parallel. They're not necessarily congruent. Okay, so fine, they're parallel. What about it? Well, if we have two parallel lines cut by a transversal. Okay, so there's my two parallel lines, and here's my transversal. Hopefully you can see that right here and here I have alternate interior angles. And if they are parallel lines, then they should be congruent. So these two angles will be congruent. All right, that's all I needed from these two. Okay, so these are alternate interior angles, so they will be congruent. Now, this is a common side. So that's going to be the same for both triangles, so we can mark that as well. So let's count up and see what we have. We have two angles and a side. So, right, because of the red angle and then the blue angle and then the shared side. So two angles and a side. How do I know if it's angle, angle, side, or if it's angle, side, angle? Well, if it's going to be angle, side, angle, the side has to be in the middle between the two angles. So let's take a look. All right, here's an angle, and here's another angle. And here is the side between them. Is that the side that we were given as congruent? Sure, it's double marked, it's a shared side. So this is going to be angle, side, angle, because the side is the side that's between these two angles. So I'll just erase that. So that's number 14. All right, 15 has a little extra information going on. AC is perpendicular to DE. Okay, here is AC, and here is DE. They are perpendicular. That means that these are 90 degrees. All right, they've given us that indirectly. B is the midpoint of AC. So this is the midpoint of AC. That means they're giving us that AB and BC are congruent. Okay, guess which theorem I can use right now? I can go ahead and use Hypotenuse Leg Theorem. Because see these marks? That's the hypotenuse. And see these marks? That's a leg. So I've got the hypotenuse and the leg. They're congruent by hypotenuse leg. In number 16, AB bisects angle BAD and angle BCD. To bisect means to cut in half. So if AB bisects BAD, that doesn't actually make sense. I think this is a typo. I think they meant to say that AC bisects. Okay, I'm pretty sure that should be AC bisects BAD and BCD. That would make more sense. Okay, so let's go with that. If it bisects, that means that these two angles are congruent. All right, it's cutting it in half. And these two angles are also congruent. Okay, and then we've got the shared side between them. So these triangles would be congruent by angle, side, angle. All right, for these last couple questions, the directions are changing just a little bit. Okay, they're not just asking if the triangles are congruent. They're saying what other information would we need to know, or maybe it is given, to state that the triangles are congruent using the following reason. So for number 17, they're telling us that they want to use the side, angle, side postulate. So look at what we have. What else will we need to know? For side, angle, side, we need two sides and the included angle to be congruent. Well, look, we have two sides, congruent to two sides. We have the S and the S. The only thing we're missing is the A. the included angle is here and here. All right, that's the angle formed by AB and CB and FE and DE. So what we would need for to be able to use side angle side, we would need angle B to be congruent to angle E. All right, are they giving us a place to write it down? No, so I'll just put it here. We would need angle B to be congruent to angle E. Okay, and pretty sure this is the last one, number 18. They're telling us ahead of time that they want us to use the angle side angle postulate. Okay, angle side angle. So we have an angle and we have another angle. So for angle side angle, it has to be the side that's between the two angles. So look, if this is an angle right here and this is an angle right here, the side that's between them is this side right here. All right, let me do that from here also. Okay, so that's what we would need, the additional information that wasn't already marked. We need AC to be congruent to FD. AC needs to be congruent to FD. Okay, and that is the end of this video. I hope it was helpful, and I will see you on the next video.